what's going on? It's the 6 to 7 radio show hour brought to you by KUAW LPFM 98.5. For a lot of you that's tuning in, this is our fourth episode, and we're talking about another episode tonight, which is going to be about a 3 to 4 week. And we've been out asking for a lot of young men and women who have sons, nephews, or any of the type of males in your family. Uh, this is going to be a show and it's dedicated to a lot of our fallen, some of us that are still going through certain issues, and one is near and dear to my heart called Lost Boys. So I'll have my cousin Jerry come in and he'll start it off as he would say about what have you done to pass the torch.
Well, me myself, I feel like that there was a certain period or time in my life where I knew that I should have did something to carry the torch forward, and that torch being the livelihood and the surroundings and the love that I was grown up to understand and be a part of and be around. And I didn't play my role that I felt I should have played in taking that forward, meaning those aunts and uncles, that generation, that kept it all together, kept the family together, kept all the loved ones strong and connected. I didn't take that knowledge that I was given and transfer it on to the generation underneath me. So that's what we mean by lost.
And we talk about old school, and we always hear everybody using the term keep it 100 and let's keep it real. Well, truly, that's what we're doing. I want a lot of people to understand that when you hear the term give back, it's not that you graduate out of college to go be a professional basketball player, football player, and you come back and you giving money. It's not always about giving money. Sometimes when you give back game of life. As my mama would say, you want to make sure that the people you care for, you can try to help them or prevent them from going off into holes. And when I say a lost boy, I'm going back to the very beginning. So you all have to follow. Um, the Saturday mornings after watching the cartoons, Black Belt Theater, karate, all the stuff that we used to do. The only thing we wanted to do at that then soon when the warfare came through and the crack and the cocaine and everything started to hit, a lot of things became different. The playing field was different. The attitudes was different. We started becoming angry because we was hungry, and everything became a struggle. We saw family fall away from the rules and the codes. The love wasn't there. And in pursuit of chasing the currency and the money, from seeing friends in the neighborhoods with money, we became lost and we took on a beast mentality. And what I want to do to give back is to let the younger kids and these men out here know that there's a dark side to this game. Everything in this game is not just about investing your change and buying a little bit of something and you get out there and you flip it and you sell it. I want to take it a step further, um, to the concrete jungle, uh, where when you get inside, see, once you play this game, you have to be able to understand the consequences and what you're going to give up by playing this game. And it's either going to cost you your life or you're going to be laying down for an awful long time. Before I start, I try to make sure every ground that I walk on um, is good to me because I'm very big on character, which means, as my sons asked me a while back, they like, Dad, everywhere you go, somebody knows you. And I said, it's not that they know me, but what do they do when they see me? And he said, they always hug you. And I go, a good name is worth more than gold. and I've always tried to have a good name. Um, where I went, I saw things that till this day um, are horrifying, horrific. Uh, just to really see how we became the animals that we do. And I want these to understand that this dark side of this game is some of the biggest people I looked up to. I would see them cry. Can you imagine being in a place where you really can't? Uh, uh, you have to just every day you got to pretend that you just so hard and that you just a killer and that you just a gangster. But when your people come to visit you and your kids say, "Daddy, when you coming home?" and you can't answer them, when you see this woman that is bringing your children up to visit you, and you know at night when you listen to your music how you were to her, but when everybody else turned their back, she's still holding it down for you. Uh, when you get calls that the only person that you love more than yourself, a lot of times, you know, God should be included. But let's say our grandma. Your grandma did everything for you. Now you get word that your grandma's sick. She's getting ready to pass. She's asking for you. You got another 6 years to do on a 15-year bid. You can't get home. You can't be there with her. A lot of things that psychologically mess you up. You realize the first 6, 7, 8 months to a year gone, you don't have no friends. You don't have people that's gonna go by and check on your kid's mother, drop off money for milk and hamburger meat, make sure the kids have a Christmas, uh, go by and check on your mom. And even if it's not to stay for 10 or 15 minutes, it's just to go over there and to check on your parents and say, "Hey, Miss Clark, if you speak to your son, let him know I came through and that I love him." And one of these is when you get in there and you see the transparency of people and how they turn their back. And I mean, it's just so much we getting ready to go into details because everybody always wants to show the winning side of this game. And it's a lot of pain that comes to this game. When we take on this lost boy mentality, let's put ourselves into what we see in the funerals, for instance. You know, a lot of us lose and have lost close homies in this street. Before I pass it to my bro, I want to give a shout out to everybody right now. There might be a lost boy. Every blood, every crip, every disciple, every the Super Bowl at the end of each year. But if you got a partner that plays on another team and your team happens to go to the Super Bowl, your partner is going to be work that you have to put in to get to that game, the injuries that you have to avoid, the work ethic, all the stuff that goes. And when I was a lost boy, I didn't see what I came to realize when somebody educated me that, man, how can I hate the next man and be so mad at these brothers when they playing the same game I'm playing? And the reason we playing this game is because we trying to survive and we want something different than what we have. And if you see another brother on top, as my boy Kenny Slim would say, it must be a disease nowadays that if you see a brother winning, how is it that you just turn your face up to him and you hate him? You know, what allows another man to hate a man so bad? Because when you look at him and he's winning in this game, you feel your own imperfection of you being a man because you haven't used your opportunities, or we keep it street. You don't have a hustle and grind about yourself. But when you see him winning, sometimes you don't even want what he has. You just hate him so bad that you will want to kill him and erase him just to get rid of him just cause. But anyway, so as we embark on Lost Boys, we just really want to let the young ones know to be aware of the consequences that's in this game. And after we speak on Lost Boys in the next several weeks, I'm hoping that we can touch a lot of people, make a lot of people think. But if you can't and you still have to play this game, just be aware to accept your consequences for whatever the outcome may be.
Thank you for tuning in this evening to Old School Radio Show, to the Old School Radio Show. We are hosted by KUAW 98.5 graciously. And tonight, we're just going to bring more of what Old School represents and what we hope that you join us in spreading the word about, which is bridging the generation gaps. There is in every community an elder community. This is a community that is rich in knowledge, experience, and there's a youth community. And this is a community where your vibrance, this is the energy that catapults, that moves. And this is essentially, we all know our future. These are not just cliches. But what we have is we have a fragment. And but if you sit down and you are going to get an anecdotal, you're going to do an anecdotal study. Every kid, just ask your family members and see how they respect. If those children are able to sit down for 10 minutes at a time, 20 minutes at a time, and listen to what those elders have to say, regardless of their experience, are they able to have the maturity level through a bridge because of the elders and the youth? Do they have the maturity level to say, I can look past this person's their character or who they are, but see what I can get out of it? And so my brother just got through relaying character and talking about character. And then the other brother here spoke with you about what we've lost. And so what we want to surmise tonight for you is we want to talk about what I think we're going to illuminate how the streets and the street life an unprepared member of your community. And where does that leave us? Exposed. And so we're going to illuminate all that, and hopefully we can illustrate it in a way that causes you to think to one of us. There is a responsibility to each one teach one. There's a responsibility to be accountable to your neighbors. Why? Group effort that results in our wealth, that results in our public safety, that results in our quality of life. And that's really what I continue to expound upon. I want to improve my quality of life with every listener and with every future listener. Because if we have improved quality of life, I've done my job as a father. I've done my job as a citizen of my community. And that's really what it's about. It's about that not all men are failing or have failed. We still got pillars out here. And are we willing to support those pillars? So in that name, I ask you to do some research on KUAW and find out what we're doing over here. We have great leadership. We have burgeoning resources, and we need your help in order to send this kind of message out and to really be able, because this is how it's done, family. This is the nuts and bolts. This is the nuts and bolts and how this thing works and is orchestrated. Just use your common sense. This is the nuts and bolts. The activity that is going on here right now, this conversation and you coming in on this conversation. So without further ado, we're going to set us free. So with that, please call in. You can call in through multiple ways. We are attending to Messenger tonight. We are also prepared here, and the information will be provided if needed to call in actually on the station. We want to hear from you. And most of all, please share. Get this out to your friends on your message boards. And so with that, one of the questions I like to present, that I often present, is, I think we all can agree, if you look back from your mom and your dad and you look at their parents, it was the rule, family. It was the rule that you're going to take care of your household. You're going to take care of your family. My observation, that's where it came from, not letting your business and your family spill out. That's the purest sense that I understand it. It's not about just everybody knowing your business, but it's about, hey, I got a group responsibility that I'm going to take care of my household. So you got your own children, you might have siblings, and they might have children. And from where I come from, that's what old school I represent. Those siblings' children, you had an eye on what was going on with them. Why? Because they were intricately tied to your children. And you see, when we get ourselves on this island, I wonder, is that what can produce a lost boy?
Well, I'm gonna take it a step further before I give it to Cuz, and I'm gonna say what made me become a lost boy. You know, when you get out of the yard. Uh, when I first came off the porch, which was just being adopted and put off into this game, I'm so thankful that so many people had their hands on me. So many aunties and grandmas prayed for me because, as I said, I went through a prodigal son lifestyle. Um, Everybody knows again what happened to the family. So I was forced to get out there into those streets at an early age. And it seemed like after the first time when I really realized that I was out there by myself and I cried that one time at 13, my heart became so cold that it was just my attitude was zero. I was taking on becoming a monster. Um, got off into the gangs because at that time I felt that when we would sit up late at night and smoke a Newport and we all passing the beer around, each of the people that I was with could feel my pain because we were all similar kids. No father, headed to death or jail. Nobody really cared whether we was living or existence, and the only thing we were ready to do was terrorize. But I also say where the cats had a game messed up to this day is back when I came up. If somebody wanted you and they saw you with your grandma or your kid, they pretty much would grit their teeth and be like, man, you know, we got to let him make it. Now there's no rules and there's no codes to the game. Um, it never was cool to start bringing grandmas and babies and innocent ones in. You know, it's so much blood shed throughout the streets of America everywhere. And what's so sad is because we've grown numb. We've grown numb. And see, the thing about keeping it real is we all got to go back to that Saturday morning when everybody would play. The little girls was outside. Their hair was always done. They were pretty. We always kept our hair combed and whatever. And at them days, only thing you really worried about was candy and just sitting out there playing. It wasn't no watching the kids, and you didn't have to worry too much about nobody being crazy to take you. But then everything else changed, man, when the drugs came through and we started to realize the money and the emphasis behind the money. The money caused a lot of snakish ways. Um, you know, for instance, and I say all the time, there's codes and rules to the game. You know, cats out here robbing and killing and stealing. You know, you might got one guy that's got the plug and he's taking care of everybody. Why knock the plug? When you knock the plug, now none of us can be better. None of us can eat. And then when we make the money, there was nothing that we did with the money besides throw the rims on the car and wear the jewelry and showcased ourselves around the nightclubs to where everything that you out here hustling for, you putting your life on the line for every dollar that you make just to have to be out in the club because you know there's going to be some cat out there that don't have what you have. And just how you shining going to make him mad. Y'all going to fall out. Or, you know, the case of the dude with the girlfriend in the club. He don't want her, but he don't want nobody else to have her. And if you trying to talk to her, just that instance causes y'all to where y'all can fall out and get in each other in a pistol play. And when you look at the games, you know, at the end of the day, none of us was no Bloods, no Crips. When you was 9, 10, 11 years old, we only wanted to play. But then it got to a point, man, to where chasing and becoming, we turned in to what the struggle was really created and designed to make us be. And I think if you ask any listener, are you a devil? Are you evil? Everybody would say no. But I would beg to disagree, because when we're in that funeral and we see our partner's mama crying over the casket, sometimes it makes us cry to witness the pain that she's going through. And a lot of us already know, because I did it. We already sitting in the funeral home, and the retaliation thoughts have already come to our mind. And so now when we leave this funeral, if it's a month later, we ready to make another family feel the same way that we just seen our boys' family feeling. Um, there's just no rules and no codes to what we doing anymore. Our children, what else? Some of us men, and to have the title to be OG is not the street term. It's when the younger cats see me and they talk to me, hey, what's up, OG? It's almost basically them just saying that you graduated to an age that going through this game and being out here in this game, for you to make it to the age you made it to now, you got that title, because it was a lot of things that we had to stumble and fall. You know, prices that was paid for a position in this game that wasn't worth it. The game was never worth the time that was taken away from my life. The game was never worth me having to bury my brother. It's a cold game. And so now I sit back and I just feel, once you really get in tune with your spiritual side, that I was truly created to be able to come back and pass the torch. And even if the ones is too old, it's the younger ones. Because at the end of the day, I would never wish death or prison on any person. And just to realize what that prison society does, that's just within another story for itself. But
So the definition of lost boy. Okay, I can give you a few little ingredients. Um, for example, if you spending more time with your homeboy, your partner, your dog, whatever you want to call them, and you have kids, you are starting the ingredients of being a lost boy. When your partner is more important to you than your own kids. And to rephrase back to what my cousin was saying about being numb, what he means by that is simply this: we are in a society that if it's not our backyard, we don't care. You know, it wasn't my son that got shot. Why should I care or be concerned about that family's child, or you know, uh, that community or those group of people? Because it wasn't me. It wasn't my family. It didn't happen to me. So, these are the ingredients to becoming a lost boy or a lost girl or whatever. This what starts the palette. This what creates the mode to become numb and non-concerned. Because you're listening to a group of young men who come from a world totally opposite, you know, where everyone cared about you. Your principal, your teacher, your neighbor, everyone. And we're not talking about just 2 or 3 blocks. We're talking about a community. We're talking about uh, 30, 40 block radius,
Right.
When you have somebody to pick up a phone and say, Miss So and so, your child's over here in this neighborhood and it's getting late or whatever. And I thought that I'd just give you a call and give you a update on what's going on with him. That's what we're talking about. You know, for you young people out there that don't believe that that exists, it does. That time existed, you know,
Right.
and we're just trying to touch bases with the community to let them know that it's not too late. It's not impossible to recreate, you know,
Right.
or to be extension of those times.
Right. And we have the tools. We have the tools to do it, which is you have to have a community. And technology The technology that we're using right now allows it inherently creates a community where people are going to places that they like. They're tagging places that they like. And so one of the things when the brother was talking, that came asked a question about accepting our devilish ways. And we preparing for the show, we always try to we sharpen one another through dialogue and just bringing up different points. And in sharing, I mentioned that when I got to the point, all of my activity that was counter to how I was brought up, how I word again, all the activity that was counter to what I was brought up when I went out and found a community, because see, that's really what it is. Lost. You got a place where you should be. You got a place that you identify with, but you've wandered away from it. So where was I wandering? So I saw some examples here and there. Some of it got my appetite. Some of it was appealed to my appetite, and I pursued it. And so when I got out there and I realized in my own mind, this is not me. It is not profiting what I felt it should. I remember a thought that I had, and I tell my brother about it periodically, that I was walking down an adjacent street from my home, and I was thinking, I need more ruckus. It needs to be a little rowdier. Things ain't popping like they should be. And you have to think, what is the root of that kind of thought? Where you need killing around you. Because at this point, you've turned into something that laughs at a situation like that. Yes. You wouldn't know that by listening to me and maybe looking at me, but that appetite was there. Where this kind of carnage needs to be around, because it has value and points in the community that I'm in. Maybe I need to go cop something. I need to hold something just in case I want to get it jumping. Because look, there's also a reward for that too, if you can get it jumping. So, and these were the things or I needed to see dilapitation, which is diminishment of a community. Like I wanted to be, and see, we gave that a tag that had a label, and it was a positive label in the community that I was in. But if stuff was tore down, and we may identify them with trap houses, they was nearby, and to be in that circle, in that community, and I'll call it's swallowers. Swallower is what it is. To be in that community was points. It was points. So I was at the point to where I needed a broader scope of that. I needed a broader scope of that. So am I painting a picture of the mindset that I adopted willingly as a lost boy? Because I needed to it was part of my culture. It was part of my community. And I needed to be able to experience it. I needed to be able to identify with it. And identity is something that we talk about quite often. And at one point, I took pride in identifying with the future that I wanted to make my elder statesman proud with. I used to want to identify with that future prior to this experience and that thought that I just pointed out. I identified with, when I go out, I want to represent my people with the ethics, the manners, the morals that they taught me with, because I know what that portrays in the public. I know that portrays that I got home, upbringing. Somebody's at home holding me accountable. I've got elders who have wisdom and knowledge. And that's what all that represented when I was out taking care of the business that I needed to take care of. But how did I get to the point to where I'm walking down the street and this street's soft? I need to get up out of here. Because my street started to get a little bit going. And so we knew we wanted to be that kind of energy that got it going, get a name for ourselves, So I didn't realize I was lost at the time. Didn't realize it, but at the same time, experiencing the consequences that were caving in on me. I remember one time, what is a fruit of this type of lifestyle? I wasted years. Have opportunities to partake in some things. whether it's the money, the drugs, whatever it may be, the women, they have some opportunity for me to partake. So I would try to get out there and partake a little bit. But again, back to my mind and how I was just wasting it. Brought home straight. I'm glad you brought some lightness to that. Because all F's. And I remember exactly what I was doing in class. I was clowning. Every day was a comedy show. And see, it's this type of habits that set you up, that the short term has such a good feeling of belonging. And that's really what it is. It's that feeling of belonging, because that short term had a rich feeling of belonging. This is where we moving. And see, this is the power of the bridge, because it was a bunch of youth. It was a bunch of lost boys and lost girls, and we leading ourselves because we working on our own knowledge and wisdom. And so I bring home those straight F's, and I don't understand my mom's tears, because this is the thing. She got off her square a little bit too. And so as we all go down that road, because this was not the household, this was not the standard that grandma and grandpa set up. And so it was that little bit of seed that maintained that finally got me to the point to where, look, all these things that I cherish are being stripped away. Because at the same time I'm fitting in, the same time I'm losing sports, which meant so much to me. The same time I'm losing the respect or the adoration of my elders that said, you got some potential in you. We can see what maybe they can't see.
And not realizing that that's how they identify with you. That's where the labels come from. You know what I'm saying? Okay, all F's. He's a failure.
Right.
That's when the labels kick
That's
in.
a label. No doubt. True.
You know?
Right. Right. But see, the thing is where this thing gets twisted is that I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be me. This thing gets twisted because this is really what it's like. There's a community that feels like that positivity and that progress doesn't identify with me to my core, what I love, what I cherish, what I identify with. And so to the world, I was a young black male, right? And the way I thought it had to be was chaotic, cutthroat, ruthless. You know, the best of us was just, you was savvy, you was clever with your hustle. And at the end of the day, you was a savage if you had to be. And that was the best of us. So,
and I mean, when you come in and you think about it, at the time, I accepted my consequences. I didn't care about if I died. I mean, running back in the days and bullets hitting the cars and trees, you get home and you sit up and be like, yeah, them fools almost caught us slipping. They had that heat. And you laugh it off, do whatever you got to do for the night, wake up the next day, and it's on again. But what's really cold is when you go through some of the pains of this game and you realize that a lot of people you was putting your life on the line and doing stuff for, to look up to this day even and realize it's June 4th, 2018. And I did so much for so many people that I lost myself.
Hello, I'm trying to call into the station.
To be 100. And at the end of the day, when you are breaking
Hello,
your neck to be
have a comment.
100.
Okay, hold on.
When you need 100,
Okay.
the 100 is not there. You know, until you incarcerated and you need $10. All your partners that you out here ripping and running with, they in the club buying bottles and showing off in front of the women. But they boy that was popping the thing off the pistol that's laying in there on their bed, you won't send him no pictures. You won't send him no money. When he calls home and says, hey, mama, has such and such been by? No, boy, I ain't heard from nobody. To go back and lay down, it makes you angry.
Hello?
Yeah, we got someone calling in right now. Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to make a comment. First of all, let me say how proud I am of all three of you young men. Two of you whom I know personally. Do you all have any idea how proud? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We
Yes,
got you.
Okay, I'm wanting to know if you have any idea how proud Uncle Billy, Aunt Netta, and Granny are of you all, remembering the upbringing that they gave you. You know what I mean? That you all have become the young men that they raised you to be.
Yes, ma'am. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, well, no, it's and I mean that's honestly what we trying to do to the show is everything is not glitz and glamour and what reality TV is making it. I mean, a lot of the people that we speaking to in the old school family, we all family. We all hurting in certain ways. We all have feelings of abandonment. We've all buried people. And at some point in time, we got to go back to how we were before we turned into the monsters uh, that some of us were, and that some of us out here still
Yes,
are.
I'm still here. And the important thing is when you ask where the lost boys and the lost girls came from, it's from when the family dropped the ball and that one child had no direction anymore. It's just like when you have a lot of sheep together in a pen and one of them gets lost. If nobody ever stops and takes the time to go and look for that one is just lost. And the wilds and the ways of the world take over the child from that time. And it's only those who are blessed by God's grace and mercy make it full circle back to live life again. And remember the love and the caring, just like Jerry said. When you would be on the other side of town doing something maybe that you shouldn't be doing, somebody would call your mom and say, well, hey, this boy is over here with these kids and doing something that he's not supposed to be doing, not to get that child in trouble, but because that child mattered.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, they knew your parents and it mattered what kind of reputation you took out into the streets when you left your family's house, when you left that porch, and when you left that yard. You wanted your family to be proud of you. You wanted your family's name to be upheld. Now these children have nothing to cling on to. There's not even a yard anymore. Forgetting about a porch. I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but I just wanted to interject that.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for calling in, and we'll touch up on that just for a second. What we'll probably do too also is let us go away just for a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back in just a minute or two.
Yeah, they can still hear you on, but they can't hear you on the regular radio.
Y'all want to get some Facebook coverage? So we can get some Facebook coverage.
Somebody's calling. Yes, it's continuation. Okay. Yeah, this is the right number. They're on break right now, but they'll be back in about 1 minute. So you want to just hold on. You don't have to hang up. Just hold on. All righty. You're going to hear some music and stuff that's on the radio, but just hold on and the show will be in a minute. Oh, okay. And we'll start right after this one. Oh, did it hang up on you? Oh, my bad, man, my bad. Okay, let me set this back.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back, old school.
You got to call it.
All right, welcome back, old school. We had to take a quick commercial break, but we're back, and I do believe we have a caller. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, turn down his radio.
Yeah, I called in to encourage you guys to. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
We can hear you
and
good.
if you have a radio
Yeah,
on, could you turn it?
I called to encourage you brothers to promote your passion and your beliefs and.
Hey, sir, could you turn your radio down or turn your audio down? Just so we
I did.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. We can hear you.
Oh, you say what now?
Go ahead and finish. We can hear you now.
Yeah, okay. My name is Jim Watts. I called to tell you guys to encourage you guys to support and promote your passion about what you believe. And I think you're on the right track. And the very best to you guys. I know Warren and his family, and haven't spoke to him in a while, but I wanted to call in and let you guys know that I was thinking about you and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much,
you,
Jim.
Yeah. I mean, everybody talk about it, but y'all doing it. And
yes,
so
sir.
That's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
And don't stop, because the longer you do it, the better you get. That's what I can tell you. The longer you do it, the better you get.
All right.
So anyhow, the very best to you guys, okay?
All right.
All
We
right.
appreciate that.
Take care. Enjoy the show. Rest of the show.
All right then. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, and I guess I'll just touch on that. It's what the first caller said is I was able to get off the porch. And the rules to the game I was given is just like you tell your kids when they cross the street, you look both ways. And because the game was gave to me at an early age, when I stepped off the porch, I was able to look both ways. And I thank God a lot of times that I had the intuition to be able to realize danger in messed up situations. And, at the age I am now, that I'm able to come back to what I stepped off the porch from, which was rules, codes, discipline. Love is something that's going to last forever. And I just want to be able to say that we took up on a mentality of becoming lost. And some people have never had a situation and a chance to get it right. And I just feel what convicts me to do old school is because I fought the bad fight my entire life. And I just think on the next half, which we call the decline of our years, I just want to be able to fight the good fight. And I have a lot of people that I always really feel if I could speak to them, would they tell me that they would be proud of what I'm doing now?
Well, because we lived on two opposite sides of the fence, but yet we're sitting here, with those values and morals, and we're relating them to people who are lost, that are in disbelief that it's no more hope, or it's no more, saying nothing to turn to or whatnot, And I'm sitting here telling you viewers that my cousin and I, opposite side of the fence. I never judged him, knocked him for the direction he went. He never knocked me for trying to stay on the straight and narrow, but yet we three brothers sit here and we share the same passion of pain and hurt for what we've seen in our community and what's, progress to where we at today, and it bothers us. So we're here and we're going to continue to be here, until we reach a community, that can relate, that has no shame or guilt, or, can be proud to say, hey, this is where it's at. There's nothing wrong with this,
Right.
There is a positive in this,
Yeah, you talked about that coexistence. And that's what we got to speak on this last week. The importance of, when you talk about family, you're talking about that legacy of codes and conducts and all that comes with it. See, one of the things I definitely like to illustrate is that we're not talking about a fantasy world. We're talking about a world where bills have to be paid, so that means it has to have an economic point, where children have to be protected. So that means you have a safety aspect. You know what I'm saying? And so these things still exist, but yet and still off with grandma because of the era she came from. She experienced some real segregation, some real discrimination, some real hate in the physical, tangible form. And nonetheless was able to make meals with 5 ingredients in the pantry. You know,
what was it? Flour, salt, pepper,
vanilla,
and what else?
And so we had this lifestyle. So economically, they was able to flip that. And I was talking to my aunt the other day, and we still on Lost Boys, and she was expressing to me the educational system in a time where they legally discriminated, and how she had teachers around her who overwhelmingly she knew that loved her, and was just like one of your aunts, your grandma, your great aunts, you know, that set you down and said, well, this is what I see in you, and maybe you don't see the same thing. Let's cultivate and go to www.oldschool.com, and you're going to get our audio form of lectures and that we laid out in a formal way, but yet and still in a very real way. And we got everybody who's at this table is in one of those audio books. And Jerry across from me mentions Love Unlimited. That's no small task. And see, that's what we have to say is really an experience that the Lost Boys and the Lost Girls are void of. Because when you're in a place, but I can't say that always, because you just have chose to blind yourself to that demonstration of love. Because that love, when you go to this cold place of the streets, and I think my brother articulates that as good as anybody I know, when you go to that cold place of the streets, you're going to realize that, hey, how deep is this love? My brother says he loves me, but I see him eye my girl. You know, he's not with his own child. Keep going. He says it. But so how do I make logic of this kind of love? But listen, when it popped off, we was both throwing hands. So it puts you in a confusing place. Because he called me, we got to go to the mall because he got to fight. He calls me just in case. See, these are the experiences that your Lost Boys are going through. You can't call mama off the porch like that. When you got enemies who are saying it's on. And when you go with your enemies, you got to call the homies, because the homies are going to be back there making sure if this thing gets illegitimate in any way other than what we about to do, it's going to really set off. So unless we really want that really kind of smoke, we're going to try to keep it contained here with this. That's a certain, in a way, that's some love that has points. And it makes it more hard to say that this is all bad. So I started this off with coexisting, because we got to deal with some realities. There's going to be some people who want to come back home, and they're going to have something valuable to offer our community. And we have to have the wisdom to be able to see what's valuable. Because the fact of the matter is that they went somewhere that you may never understand. And they partake and they experienced things on this earth and realities that we may never understand. You see, there's a vicious system. There's probably more vicious than anything you and I have seen out there in them streets. It's a system that likes carnage. It's a system that likes depravity. It's a system that likes things to be continually diminished. And so I'm not going to call it. We all have our common sense. And so these people have been in the belly of the beast. I've experienced my part in the beast. Some of us have been deeper and gotten more muggier and muckier than others. And so when coming back, we are counseled by an elder, and the elder often tells us that these holes are all around us, and that we're liable to fall in one of these holes. And these holes are that dark place on our journey. And some of us get in these holes and we have this repetition of failure and this repetition of consequences that are overwhelming and make us want to give up. And to get us out of that hole, it's just as practical as in being in a hole. It requires somebody to give you a hand to help get you up out of that hole. So it's absolutely critical. It's amazing to me how.
And let me just.
I'm gonna let you, but I'm gonna say this, and now I know you're gonna be able to put it all in the pot. It's amazing to me that positive TV isn't doing very well. And so in order to make it entertaining, everybody is just like me and nobody's different. When I was walking down that street and I said, I need death and destruction, because death and destruction sells. Death and destruction gets views and audiences. But that what is essential to your nutrients, just like you need a piece of broccoli, maybe not broccoli, but just like you need a piece of okra in order for your cells to do what they properly are meant to be, we need an encouraging word. And I know that we're clouded and things like that by different institutions, but we know good when we taste it and when we see it and when we feel it. So when that person is maybe has a little wisdom to hand on to you, do we slap that person in the face by giving them bitter face looks? Do we slap that person in the face by our body position and turning it and looking at our phone? Or do we cherish it like the good meal it is?
And just for me to hear that, is this as we said a couple of shows back, understand what a good blessing is. A blessing is just not because you go to the casino and you hit for $200 or $300, or whatever these fake fictional blessings are. A blessing is able to just know somewhere in your life when you sit back now and you know what you made it through, you know what you came from. I'm thankful that I was always one of those kids that even though I was a lost boy, I never thought I knew everything, that I would listen. I listened to a lot of people that told me what was going to happen, where I was going to go. But, you know, at that point, I accepted my faith and I accepted my consequence of knowing that if I had to lose my life or if I had to go lay down, that's just what that was going to be. And through my walk, a lot of times, some of my friends were better to me than my own family was, you know. And so when you really look at the word again, family, it goes so deep. But what we're saying now and what we're talking about and what the caller, Mr. Watts, called in and stated is I have a passion for the uplifting of my people. I always wanted to do it by rapping and all that, but I wanted to take a different approach. And I wanted all these young men and men that know me that's listening, allow your kids to listen. It takes a village to raise a nation. And as we keep going through the next several weeks, I'm really going to talk about the dark side of this game, because it's not everything that you think it is, because you see, oh boy, got him a clean lack over there on the rims, and he always got a different woman and he's clean. For some of y'all don't know what that man might be going through. You know, big time people facing indictments, big time people getting ready to know that I done paid the lawyer all this bread that I hustled for. And he told me the best he can do is give me 20. You know, and that's when everything comes full circle. You have to go lay down for 20, 365, 7 days a week. You don't get to see your children. You can't be out there to help your mama. You can't be out there to help your grandma. So many people that you did things for. You know, you might even just be in the county and need somebody that you trust to go over there to your stash and grab some change out to give to your mama for the retainer fee for the lawyer. Your mama say they ain't never came through. The money gone. And this is your boy that you did everything for. Probably the reason why you laying up in there. And at the end of the day, the realities of this game are harsh. It gets no harsher than being in your darkest state of being incarcerated when you can't help yourself. or to see somebody that you love and they say, you know, we have one more call or one more round for everybody to come make their last review. And anyway, but like I said, we'll be here next Monday and every Monday, 6 to 7. I do want to say before we leave, if you do want to support and represent Old School, you can go to www.oldschool.com. Check out the candle collection. Each candle has a significant meaning. Check out the t-shirts, but also pay attention and look out for what we're really trying to do in the future. I want to say anybody that's tuned in, listening, is Old School, you family. I love you, Old School or New School. Which one of you? Hey, cuz. Jerry, go on and say bye.
Yeah, this is Jerome Smith tuning out. For me, like my cousin said, to get wrapped up into material things or the American dream as you would, it's no substance in it. When you get through with all of that, then what? What do you have? You know, you'll still be grasping for something, you know, and we're here trying to give you a roadmap to what that something is.
Absolutely. Well, we're wrapping up our evening. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Please continue to share the episodes. And as we proceed, we're going to have another volume of Lost Boys because an hour just isn't enough. And we're going to talk about, you're going to hear solutions in our conversation to how we deal with safety in our communities, how we can deal with the economics, because we've already got the blueprint in the old school code and method. And so going forward, we need to hear from you continually as much as possible. So we thank you for those who are on Facebook active, those of you who visited the website during this hour. You may ask yourself, how can I contribute? How can I take part in this? I believe in what you're saying. One of the most powerful things you can do right now is go on the website, tour the website, and become a member. Because when you become a member, what we're going to do is we're going to exhaust ourselves. We're burning the midnight oil, family. We're tapping our creativity because we feel like our solutions are already inside of us. Power is already inside of us if we can take our mind to that place of infinite power. And so without getting too metaphysical or spiritual here, we thank you for joining us tonight. As we wrap it up, we thank you for your comments on Facebook. We're on Old School. We'll be on KUAW 98.5. If you just put that in your search and you scroll down, we'll be on there live every Monday at 6 o'clock. Till then, we're going to put it like this. Old school, new school. Which one are you?
Yeah, it goes fast.
Man. It's like once you down